What's up guys, it's Kobe with Apex Off-Road. Today we got this new JT Gladiator in, doing an Accuair kit on it, which is a full air ride suspension. It replaces all your springs with airbags basically. It allows you to go, I believe, between 2 and 4 inches, but it is a 4-inch lift, allows you to drive around at 4 inches. It has all of the ride height sensors, so it'll level it out if you have a heavier load in the bed. Allows you to adjust each corner independently from inside the cab. We'll start getting this thing on and see how it comes out. Alright guys, just giving you an update. We've got the regulator all in, the air tanks mounted under there. All the airlines are ran roughly to where they need to be. So if you look under here, we've got some airlines, just loose airlines. This one does come with a heat sleeve, just because we have exhaust right here. This is going to go to our height sensor. There's one of these at each of the 4 corners, because this system does control each air spring individually. Got everything wired for the most part. Tony's putting the interior together right now, so we'll get the regulator mounted up, get it all cleaned up, make it look pretty. The one cool thing about this kit is the regulator does have an air chuck, so you can hook up an air hose for running tools or airing up tires or whatever you might need air for. And it does have a 5-gallon tank mounted underneath. So we'll get you guys some shots of all of that installed, and then once we get finished up and kind of cleaned up there, we'll start throwing air springs and shocks in with all the new control arms and actually doing the lift kit part. So going on? We are installing the rear part of this suspension. Got it mostly disassembled. We're putting the control arms in right now.
Did you get your bolts in?
Yeah. And then we'll do the bump stop extensions, get the new air springs in. The height sensors on these actually mount in with the upper control arm bolt at the frame, and it has tabs that locate it. Sway bar links in, put the track bar bracket in, and then the rear will be done. And then Accuair sent us 2 front left height sensors, so they're overnighting us one for the right. So as soon as we get that tomorrow, we can plug it in, set this thing on the ground and start calibration, make sure we don't have any air leaks. Tony got the track bar bracket in, got the control arms and the height sensors in, airbags are in. We had to slightly modify this bracket that holds it in on the bottom. Slot the hole out just a little bit to get it to fit the control arm or the control arm mount. There's a locating tab right in here that holds the airbag in. And then there's just a big old cotter pin, basically, that holds the top of the bag in.
Is it supposed to fit in this groove?
Yes.
Oh, there she goes.
Just like that. All right, guys, we've got this thing all buttoned up. Tony was able to get everything tight up here on the alignment rack and get it all aligned. So we're gonna run you through everything underneath that we did. We'll start here. Comes with new front and rear sway bar links. Comes with a new adjustable track bar. Got that guy in and got it all centered up. These are actually the bags. They replace the springs now, so you can raise it up and down. And then we've got just lower control arms on the front here. These lower control arms push the bottom of the axle forward to get you a little more caster after we lift it. And then these are the height sensors. So these talk to the brain up inside of the Jeep. They basically tell it where each corner's at so that it can self-adjust when you have it in that mode. And then we'll move on to the back. So up here, we've got the air tank. This air tank mounts really well in here. It's got 3/8 air lines running from the compressor to the tank, and then from the tank to this manifold. This manifold is what controls all the air to each individual bag. And then it's got a manual Schrader valve, so you can release pressure from the tank manually or add it if you want to. And then in the back here, we get all 4 control arms, all brand new. Your height sensors are up here. Got airbags back here. These guys actually bolt into the axle, top and bottom, and the fronts do as well. And then we've got their specific shocks for this kit. These are piggyback shocks, front and rear, and they have dual adjusters. And then instead of an adjustable track bar in the rear, just to simplify it a little bit, they add this track bar bracket to lift that up. And then we get some bump stop extensions and longer sway bar links. And other than that, we've got the brain up inside the cab and then our control switch. This kit's pretty cool. We're gonna go run it on the flex ramp and just see what it'll do. And then we'll mess around with the heights, show you guys that kind of stuff. So
in the driver's seat, we have Kobe. He's gonna be driving the 35 Caterpillar forklift. Okay, so this is 6 inches of height. There. Here we go, 6 inches. We got 19. The ground isn't perfectly level. Actually it is, it's pretty good. It's pretty level. So 19. Okay, drop her down. Now what we're gonna do, this is the fancy remote that you'll probably see a few times in the video. You have the main settings here. Front set, rear set. Okay, we down? Okay, go ahead. So we had 19 at the 6-inch height. Yep. 22. It's pretty good. I like these buttons. This remote feels quality. Okay, going down to 2. It's pretty cool. Right there. So 23. Yep, 23. Okay, now let's manipulate it because we want to leave it at its lowest setting here, and then we want to raise just the back corner.
Raise the opposite corner to put pressure on this wire.
Okay, that back one over there is max.
Okay. There you go. Yeah.
Okay, this one's max. Okay, well that's part of it. We wanted to see if it made any difference. We got an extra inch out of it.
There you go.
Freaking cool how you can independently control all of them. So if you click it at an angle, it'll sync everything to the angle. Yeah, so she's gonna have to push this button on a level surface,
Yeah.
because that's where it sets its PSI ratings.
Yep.
Bro, we heading down south. Okay, so this Accuair system is aligned at its 4-inch lift. So if you're, so that's like its neutral, that's its driving height. Now if you're at a 2-inch or a 6-inch, once you reach 25 miles an hour, it will automatically adjust to a 4-inch, because that's where basically everything is aligned to. That's its best long-term driving setting. So we're actually in the car. I'm really curious on how this thing rides, how it takes bumps, how it corners. And so far I'm pretty impressed. We're a mile up the road. Also, we re-geared this Jeep so it has the torque it needed to actually get up to speed, which is pretty nice. So in essence, this suspension system is operated by eliminating the springs and introducing airbags that are your springs. And they are synced up with the ECU in the fact that they can operate together or individually. And it has its own brain. So being linked up to the ECU, it can sense how fast you're going, whether you're in drive mode, neutral, reverse, and it's gonna level out the vehicle and give you the best ride possible at that 4-inch height. You're gonna get the most flex, what we've learned, out of the 2-inch height. And then 6-inch mode is just flex mode, right? The thing feels like it is sky high. As you've probably seen on some of our little videos that we've been tossing up. But overall, right now, this thing drives really nice. I'm impressed. I don't really like solid axle vehicles because I always feel like when you hit something over there, the whole vehicle feels it. But this is really comfortable. Now we're gonna take some turns. Okay.
I hate that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. That was a little dip, a decent one. This is some road that definitely has some deeper dips in it. So I'm just kind of wanting to feel them out. I have felt better, but for what this suspension system offers, that's pretty dang comfortable. Now let's talk about cost. How much is this kit?
$8,500.
$8,500. You're getting the brain, the ECU, airlines, tanks, bags, suspension components, links. You're also getting 4 shocks that I think this ride might be a little bit better if we were to also play with the shocks.
Dual adjustment.
Yep. The shocks come with dual adjusters. You got your center adjustment and an outer adjustment. That way you can fine tune. Okay, that was pretty nice. That was a decent sized speed bump. That way you can fine tune how this thing rebounds, its regressive and digressive feel as you drive it. I would say this is a pretty nice daily setup. I don't know how durable the bags would be under like mud, dirt, and heavy grime, like off-roading. That's something that someone else is probably gonna have to do a review for. But as a daily driver, I would drive this. I'd drive this all day. It's pretty comfortable. It's actually making me rethink whether do I get rid of my Tacoma and get a Jeep? No, maybe. Who knows? What's selling me is those back seats. Kids are actually gonna have some leg room. Okay. I also want to go over the remote. Show you guys this. This is the 2-inch, 4-inch, and 6-inch height. This is your rear airbags, your front airbags. So when you're in the vehicle, we'll drop it all the way down to a 2. Oh, it won't let you change on the fly. There you go. Okay. Okay. Let's go up to a 6. It's pretty wild, the feeling of it going up that much higher. Okay, we're gonna get up to 25 miles an hour and actually see if it drops down to the 4-inch height. Because it may actually do it slowly.
You can feel the difference of height.
Wow. Yeah, you can. And you can also feel the difference in the steering wheel. You can tell that there's significantly more tension in the steering wheel. Okay, right. Okay, I just hit 25 miles an hour, and now you heard the airbags, the air release kick in, so it did just release all the air, and we're back in 2. Least amount of pressure at 2 gives you the most amount of flex. The 4-inch is where everything is aligned at and set at to ride properly, and then the 6-inch is just, you know, flexing on the streets mode. So when they finally toss on some 38s onto this thing, it's gonna look sweet. So Judd made a comment, I don't hear the compressor. Then we came to a complete stop and you can hear the compressor. Oh geez, there was someone sitting behind us when we like this, maybe just didn't see him. Sorry bro. So it has a 5-gallon tank with a compressor in the back. The compressor is behind the rear passenger tire, air lines into the 5-gallon air tank that is located to the driver's side of your driveline. Pros of this kit, I mean, you get adjustability, drivability, comfort. I'd give this a pretty high level on comfort. The downsides that I can see to this from an off-road perspective is just lots of air lines and electrical lines. Shouldn't be an issue, but if you're going over stuff with lots of sticks, the possibility of it snagging something or pulling on something is there. And so that could cause, you know, an air leak down the road. Shouldn't, because all their airlines were very high quality. All the fittings were fittings that you would want in a high quality suspension system like this one. There was wiring involved. Sometimes wiring, if not done properly, can lead to problems later on. These airbags are honestly really, really nice airbags. High quality airbags. All the fittings and the mounts that go onto the actual Jeep were high quality. Some of them were billet, all powder coated. Yeah, great kit. I'm excited to see what they think of this when they put on their larger tires and actually daily it for a few days. So air compressor is barely heard when it is on. Tank takes a few minutes to fill up, and I think, let's see here, let's drop it down 2. So I want to see if we can go up to a 6-inch lift without the air compressor turning on. Okay, it didn't turn on. How many times? Nope, no air compressor yet. There we go. So second time at full adjustment, the air compressor does turn on, which makes sense. You're taking 4 full airbags, airing them all the way out, most of the way, filling them back up, airing them out, and it will go up a second time perfectly fine, but the compressor tank does turn on. So Kobe and Tony installed this entire kit. We were skeptical on time and how long it would take. With 2 guys on it, working around the clock on an 8-hour day, it took about 10 to 12 hours. So I think if we were to install another one of these kits, we would charge 16 hours for start to finish for a single guy to be able to disassemble, wire everything in, and then reassemble everything, the alignment, and all that fun jazz. So let's ask Kobe and Tony what they thought of it. Walk us through some of the pain points, some of the points that they were like, oh, that's smart or genius to do that, and other things that they may have that just perspective wise from a mechanic's point of view, what works and what doesn't work. So let's go.
The install was a little bit different than what we're usually used to. The suspension part of it was pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just, you know, control arm, sway bar link, stuff like that. Mounting the airbags wasn't really anything difficult. You just have to be kind of careful with them. The wiring portion of it, though, was pretty heavy. There was a lot of wires, as you'll see in the video, that have to go, you know, through the cab, under the dash, under the back seat. The instructions for the wiring weren't awesome. I wouldn't say they were terrible, but they weren't great. There was quite a bit of the wiring that was kind of left just figure out. But overall, not really that bad, just time consuming. That's the biggest thing I would say in doing this kit, is just really taking your time on the wiring aspect of it and then running all the lines. There's a ton of stuff tucked up underneath the vehicle as well. So it's really just a lot of routing, making sure everything's away from, you know, anything moving, exhaust, things like that. So overall, not too bad, just time consuming. Anyway, if you guys are interested in a kit like this, you can swing by and take a look, and we can quote you out on one as well.